Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest gifts ever given to you is your voice. Not just the voice others hear. I'm talking about the voice you hear the most. The one that speaks when no one else is around. The voice inside your head. The voice that follows you home after the applause fades. That voice. That's the one that writes the story of your life. And here's the secret most people never learn. If you don't speak blessing over your life, life won't speak blessing over you. There is a force in this world more powerful than money, more defining than circumstance, more creative than the tools in the craftsman's hand. That force is the spoken word. What you say out loud, and even more importantly, what you consistently say to yourself, has the power to shape the entire direction of your life. Words are not harmless. They are builders or breakers, architects of our belief systems or assassins of our potential. The truth is, your mouth is the steering wheel of your destiny. Most people underestimate just how much their lives are being controlled by the sentences they speak without even thinking. We say things like, "I can't win," or "nothing ever works out for me," or "I'm not smart enough." And we say them like it's just small talk, like it's just venting, like it's not doing any damage, but it is, because every time you say something, your brain listens. And it doesn't argue with you. It just records. Your subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor. It doesn't know you're just joking when you call yourself stupid. It doesn't know you're just venting when you say your life is a mess. It doesn't have a sarcasm filter. It just says, "Okay, got it. That's who we are now." And that's the beginning of a belief system, a system you built with your own voice. What makes words so powerful is not just the sound, they're declarations. Words become agreements. When you speak something long enough with enough emotion, you are literally signing a contract with your future. That's why you have to be careful what you let come out of your mouth. Every sentence is a seed. Some seeds grow fruit, others grow weeds, and once the seed is planted, once it hits the soil of your belief system, it starts to take root, even if you don't want it to. The problem is that most people are walking around living in a garden full of weeds they planted themselves with their own tongue through repeated patterns of self-criticism, self-doubt, negativity, sarcasm, and limitation. Time to realize that your mouth is not just an instrument of communication, it's a creative device. What you say is not just commentary, it's prophecy. Every time you say, "I'll never get out of this," you are preaching defeat into your future. Every time you say, "Nobody ever supports me," you are reinforcing loneliness in your atmosphere. But the opposite is also true. Speak blessing and watch how life begins to shift around you. Speak strength and feel your soul stand a little taller. Speak clarity, and confusion starts to lose its grip. This is not magic, it's principle. And principles work whether you believe in them or not. Gravity doesn't need your permission to pull you down, and the power of your words doesn't need your permission to work on your life. It already is. Let me paint the picture even clearer. If someone followed you around for 24 hours and wrote down everything you said about yourself, what kind of person would they think you are? Would they see a person full of promise, walking in purpose, expecting great things? Or would they see someone tired, overwhelmed, drowning in self-pity, and convinced the best days are behind them? Would your words create a warrior or a worrier? See, you can't speak defeat every day and expect victory to show up. You can't speak lack and wonder why abundance avoids you. You can't speak fear and wonder why peace won't stay in your house. Your life is echoing what you declare. And here's the truth most people ignore. You are the first prophet over your life. What you speak, you start to see. What you declare, you eventually dwell in. Speak it long enough and loud enough, and even the atmosphere around you will start to believe it. This is why you must get intentional about your language. No more casual negativity, no more harmless self-insults, no more labeling yourself with limitations that don't belong to you. Because here's what happens. Every time you speak down to yourself, you silence a part of your potential. Every time you curse your circumstances, you chain your creativity. You weren't designed to live under the weight of your own voice. The power of the spoken word is not just about motivation, it's about construction. Every word is a brick, and you are either building a fortress of faith or a prison of fear. The choice is yours, and it's made every single day, one sentence at a time. If you want to know what someone believes about themselves, you don't have to ask for their resume. You don't need to look at their bank account or their social media profile. Just listen to how they talk to themselves when no one else is around. Self-talk is the hidden language of self-worth. It's the silent script we recite every day, shaping how we show up in the world or whether we show up at all. Most people think their confidence, or the lack of it, comes from what others have said about them. But that's only the beginning. What truly defines how you see yourself is not what others said. It's what you started repeating after they left. If someone once told you, "You're not good enough," that may have hurt, but what damages your soul is when you start whispering that same line to yourself for years afterward until it no longer feels like a wound, feels like your identity. The truth is, self-worth is not something you're born with or something someone else can hand you. It's something you build with bricks made out of your own internal dialogue. And too many people are trying to build a life of success on the foundation of self-hate. They are chasing approval from the world while tearing themselves apart behind closed doors. They dress for confidence but speak like a critic. And the worst part, they don't even notice they're doing it. Because self-talk becomes so automatic, so ingrained that we assume it's just the voice of reason, but in reality it's often the voice of old pain dressed in logic's clothes. So let me put it to you this way. Your self-talk sets the tone for how the world treats you. If you constantly tell yourself, "I don't belong," then even when opportunity shows up, you'll feel like an imposter. If you keep repeating, "I'm too broken," then healing will feel like a lie, even when it knocks on your door. The words you whisper in the dark are powerful. They train your brain on what to expect. And once your brain believes it, it starts to filter everything you see through that belief, whether it's true or not. That's why transformation doesn't begin with what you do, it begins with what you say to you. You could be the most talented person in the room, but if your inner voice says you're not enough, you'll walk like you don't belong there, you'll sabotage the interview, you'll dismiss the compliment, you'll reject the relationship that could have healed you, and you'll call it fate, when in reality, it was the voice inside you that shut the door. Here's what's wild. You're not even arguing with facts. You're arguing with yourself. You are the courtroom. You are the judge. You are the witness, and you are the defendant, all in your own mind. But the evidence is being provided by a voice that has no interest in your healing unless you retrain it. You must decide right now that your inner conversation needs a new vocabulary, not empty flattery, not unrealistic affirmations, but truth spoken with intention. You have to begin saying, "I'm not perfect, but I'm valuable." You have to remind yourself, "I've made mistakes, but I am not a mistake." You must declare, "I am worthy of kindness from others, but especially from myself." Because the day you change your self-talk is the day you start upgrading your life from the inside out. It won't feel natural at first. It may even feel awkward. But that's not because it's wrong. It's because you've been rehearsing the wrong script for too long. And now it's time to rewrite the narrative. Self-worth doesn't come from the outside in. It grows from the inside out. And it always starts with what you're willing to say when no one else is listening. There's a reason the old proverb says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue." It's not just a poetic metaphor, it's a warning. It's a roadmap. It's a truth we often forget while we're busy trying to fix our lives from the outside, never realizing the very thing building or breaking us is already in our mouths. Your tongue is small, but it is dangerous. It can either be a sword that slices through hope and stabs potential, or it can be a torch that lights the path when everything around you is dark. It can kill dreams, or it can breathe life into them. The question is, what are you choosing to speak? Think about it. How many times have we killed something before it ever had the chance to grow, just because of the way we spoke about it? A relationship we poisoned with our own insecurities. A goal we abandoned because we kept saying it was impossible. A vision we buried beneath jokes and self-doubt. That's the death side of the tongue, the side we often use without thinking, without understanding the cost. Because here's the truth, you don't need enemies when your own voice is against you. You don't need betrayal from others when you're already betraying your own purpose with the words you speak over yourself. You don't need critics when you're already criticizing yourself out of every opportunity, every breakthrough, every blessing. The damage doesn't always show up immediately. That's what makes it dangerous. You can speak death in a moment, but the decay shows up over time. Little by little, your belief shrinks. Your ambition fades. Your energy dies. And one day you wake up wondering where it all went, but if you trace it back, it didn't start with failure. It started with language. It started the day you spoke defeat, before you even gave yourself permission to try. But just as the tongue can speak death, it can also speak life. And that is where your power lies. It lies in choosing to bless your path instead of cursing it. It lies in declaring possibility where others see only limitation. It lies in saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm on my way. It lies in speaking victory even while you're walking through valleys. Not because you're faking it, but because you understand this principle. What you speak, you empower. When you speak life, something shifts. You give yourself permission to grow. You let hope in again. You create space for healing. You no longer treat your future like it's an enemy trying to break you. You treat it like a friend who's been waiting for you to call it by name. Look around. Your words have built the environment you're living in. If the atmosphere around you feels heavy, bitter, filled with anxiety or self-loathing, it's not just because of life. It might be because of your language. You are either breathing life into the space you occupy or you're draining it. And you're doing it one sentence at a time. You don't have to wait for perfect circumstances to start speaking life. You don't need to feel strong to start declaring strength. You can be broken and still say, there's healing on the way. You can be tired and still whisper, I'm not giving up. Because those words matter. They're not just motivational, they're medicinal. They begin to mend what life has tried to break. So the next time you're tempted to say, I can't, stop and ask yourself, do I want to give life to this limitation, or do I want to give life to something greater? The tongue may be small, but the consequences of its power are enormous. Every word you speak is either planting a tree or burning one down. There's a secret code in life that most people never learn to crack, and that is this: the world responds to the way you treat yourself. People are listening, they're observing, but more than that, they're absorbing how you show up. And perhaps nothing teaches others how to treat you more powerfully than the way you speak about yourself. See, it's not just about confidence, it's about communication. Every time you belittle yourself, minimize your value, or speak as though you don't matter, you're giving the world instructions. You're silently announcing, this is the level of respect I expect. You are setting the tone. You're writing the script, and most of the time, others simply follow it. Start small. A joke at your own expense. A sarcastic comment, a casual remark that sounds harmless. I'm such a mess, or nobody ever really listens to me, or I never get it right. You say it so often you don't even notice, but others do. They start to echo it. They begin to reflect it. And before long, what you said in passing becomes part of your reputation. Not because it was true, but because you repeated it enough for them to believe it. This is why your words carry more weight than you think. You are not just narrating your life, you're broadcasting your worth. And when your broadcast is always set to self-doubt, self-criticism, and self-abandonment, don't be surprised when the world turns the volume down on your voice. Here's the deeper truth. People rarely treat you better than you treat yourself. If you speak as though you're undeserving of kindness, people assume you are. If you talk as if your voice doesn't matter, people assume it doesn't. If you downplay your gifts, others will step over them, not because they're cruel, not because they're malicious, but because you gave them the blueprint, you taught them how to see you. And that's the danger of low self-talk. It becomes an open invitation for others to echo your disrespect. But here's the good news. The opposite is also true. When you start speaking about yourself with dignity, clarity, and courage, the world takes notice. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. When you say things like, I respect my own time, or I value my peace, or I'm not for everyone and that's okay, you shift the energy, you raise the standard, you retrain the people around you on how to approach you. This isn't about controlling others, it's about controlling the one thing you actually have power over, your self-regard. You can't force someone to value you, but you can refuse to agree with voices, internal or external, that try to diminish you. You can refuse to be the loudest critic in your own life. And when you do that consistently, your energy changes. Your presence speaks before you do. And it tells the room this is someone who respects themselves. People might not know your whole story. They might not know your strengths or your struggles, but when they hear how you talk about yourself, they'll know whether you are someone to take seriously or someone who's still begging for permission to matter. So ask yourself, what script are you handing to the world? Are you teaching them to handle you with care or to treat you as disposable? Are your words forming a crown or building a cage? Because every sentence you speak about yourself is either raising your standard or lowering your value in the eyes of people who are watching, listening, and waiting to know who you believe you are. A person's life will never outgrow the quality of their words. You can dream high, plan big, surround yourself with success stories and self-help books, but if your language is small, your life will stay small. If the words coming out of your mouth are soaked in doubt, shame, self-pity, or fear, then your reality will be chained to the ground, no matter how much you want to fly. This is not superstition. This is not about speaking it into existence like magic. This is about mental architecture. Because your words don't just describe your world, they build it. They are the framework, the structure, the scaffolding of your self-belief. And if your words are weak, your foundation will crack under pressure. You can't speak defeat every morning and expect victory to meet you in the afternoon. You can't wake up declaring, I'll never make it, and then wonder why doors don't open, because every time you say something, you're casting a vote for who you are, a vote for where you're going, a vote for what you think you deserve. And if the majority of your words are negative, you're constantly voting against your own growth. Now, here's what people don't understand. The danger of negative self-talk isn't always in the volume. It's in the repetition. You don't need to scream self-hate for it to shape you. A whisper, repeated often enough, becomes a belief, and a belief becomes a habit, and a habit becomes your lifestyle. That's how people get stuck, not because they're not capable, not because they're not talented, but because their words clipped their own wings before they ever got off the ground. Now, you see it all the time, someone with so much potential, but their inner dialogue keeps dragging them back. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old to change. People like me don't get chances like that. And the truth is, it doesn't matter if those thoughts are lies. If you keep speaking them, your brain will treat them as truth, because your mind doesn't filter what you say, it builds with it. That's why the words you use must match the life you want, not the pain you've lived through. It's easy to speak from your wounds. It's natural to verbalize your fear, your past disappointments, your insecurities. But if you stay there, if you keep repeating what went wrong, you'll never rise above it. You'll be anchored to your trauma instead of lifted by your possibility. So you must make a conscious choice. Upgrade your language. Speak like someone who is headed somewhere. Speak like someone who believes in the destination. Speak like someone who knows, even if they're in a storm, the sky still exists beyond the cloud. And it's not about lying to yourself. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about alignment. It's about creating harmony between your desires and your dialogue. If you want peace, speak peace. If you want abundance, stop talking lack. If you want love, stop speaking loneliness as if it's your permanent address. Every breakthrough you've been praying for is tied to a mindset, and that mindset is shaped by your vocabulary. You cannot live in joy and speak bitterness. You cannot grow while reciting limitations. Your words are the thermostat of your future. And you can't expect your life to heat up while your language stays cold. Ask yourself, what kind of life am I speaking into existence? Is it one of growth or one of survival? Are my words building ladders or digging graves? Because no matter how much ambition you have, you will never rise higher than the level of your own word. Every word that leaves your lips is a seed. The moment it drops into the soil of your mind or the mind of someone else, something begins to take root. That's not poetic, it's biological, neurological, spiritual. Your words carry energy, they carry intention. And once spoken, they don't disappear, they grow, they echo, they manifest. The question is, what are you planting? Are you sowing strength, or are you scattering seeds of fear? Are you cultivating belief, or are you nurturing doubt? The truth is, your life becomes a garden of your most repeated thoughts and words, and if you're careless with your speech, don't be surprised when weeds choke out your potential. Most people don't realize they've been feeding the wrong things. They feed anxiety with constant confessions of, what if it goes wrong? They feed insecurity with daily declarations like, I'm not good enough, I always mess this up, this never works for me. They don't understand the spiritual law they're violating. You can't plant poison and expect fruit. If you want love, you have to speak it, not just to others, but to yourself. If you want peace, you can't keep giving energy to chaos with your tongue. If you want strength, you cannot afford to be your own verbal assassin. That's the thing. Some people have a powerful enemy, but it's not external, it's internal. They kill their own blessings by cursing their own name. But just like seeds of destruction can grow, so can seeds of destiny. And the good news is you can begin planting something new, starting with your mouth. You can start every day saying, I am equipped for today. You can whisper, I am healing, even while you're still in pain. You can declare, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Because here's the real truth. Your life will follow your language. Even in silence, the most powerful tool you have is your voice. Not just the sound, but the choice, what you choose to declare about yourself and your path. This is where affirmations come in. Now listen, some people laugh at affirmations. They think it's fluff. They think it's silly. They mock the idea of standing in the mirror and saying, I love myself, or I believe in my vision. But those same people wonder why they stay stuck, why they feel unworthy, why nothing changes. They think affirmations are just cute slogans. But affirmations are not fluff. They are foundation. You don't build a strong life on luck. You build it on belief. And belief needs repetition. It needs reinforcement. If you've spent 10 years telling yourself you're broken, do you think one sentence of encouragement is going to fix that overnight? Of course not. It takes work. It takes habit. It takes consistency. That's what affirmations do. They lay the bricks of a new identity. Every time you say, I am worthy, even when you don't feel it, you're setting a brick. Every time you declare, I am becoming stronger, even while you're trembling, you're laying another one. And eventually, brick by brick, you've built something that didn't exist before, a foundation stable enough to hold your future. This isn't magic. It's mindset. It's mental renovation. If your house burned down, you wouldn't rebuild it with the same faulty wires and crumbling walls. You'd upgrade the foundation. You'd invest in better structure. So why treat your identity any different? If your life hasn't been working, maybe it's not your circumstances. Maybe it's your internal dialogue. Maybe it's the seeds you've been planting and the affirmations you've been ignoring. Maybe it's time to stop waiting for others to validate you and start learning how to speak life over yourself. Affirmations don't eliminate struggle, but they fortify you for it. They don't erase pain, but they prepare you to walk through it with dignity. Because when your words match your purpose, your life starts moving in the direction of your design, not your doubt. So, speak wisely, plant intentionally, because whether you believe it or not, you are always sowing. And one day, you will have to live in the harvest of what you kept saying when no one else was listening. So, what does all of this mean? It means your mouth has power. Not just the power to communicate, but the power to create. The power to shape identity, to shift atmosphere, to open doors or close them before they ever appeared. It means your words are not small things. They are not accidental sounds. They are either prophecies or prisons. And in a world that's already quick to label you, dismiss you, reduce you, it becomes your responsibility to speak something higher over yourself, not just to motivate, but to anchor. To remind yourself of who you are even when the evidence isn't there yet. To declare light when darkness surrounds you. To call yourself blessed even in the middle of brokenness. Why? Because that's how transformation begins. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. You want a new life? It starts with a new language. You want better relationships, deeper peace, more opportunities. It begins with how you speak about yourself when nobody else is in the room. That's the truest test. That's where champions are born. Not in applause, but in the silence. When no one else is watching. And you choose to believe in yourself anyway. Remember this. You cannot expect to live a life of abundance while speaking the language of lack. You cannot expect others to honor you while you're dishonoring yourself. And you cannot expect to rise higher while your own voice is dragging you down. So today, start small. Speak one blessing over yourself, just one, and mean it. Say, I am worthy of joy, or I am being prepared for something greater, or I forgive myself and am moving forward. You don't need to shout it. You don't need to convince anyone else. Just plant the seed. Because if you plant life, life will grow. And in time, the world will stop responding to your wounds and start responding to your word. Speak power. Speak purpose. Speak blessing. Because the world is listening. And more importantly, so are you.